Hello everyone! The first wrap up of 2020. Here it is. So my wrap-ups, I share with you every single book I've read that month, and I also show them to you in order of my least favorite working up to my favorite book that I read this month. So this month I read 6 books, which is okay. If you didn't know, I was in a really big slump at the end of 2019. Like, I read 4 books in December, which is a really low for me, honestly. And so I knew the beginning of this year would be a little bit better, but I'm taking it slowly at a time. 6 books is not a ton, but in retrospect, it really is, honestly. So I'm okay with it. I'm happy with it. So in these 6 books, I've already done mashup reviews on all 6 of them. So I'll leave them down below. So I won't go into super detail about them because, like I said, I do have reviews on them, which if you're interested in hearing more about any book I talk about, I'll link the review down below, so I don't want this to be a forever long video. So let's get into the books I read this month, starting from my least favorite, working up to my favorite. So 2020 started off with some thrillers for me, and not only that, it started off with probably some of my least favorite thrillers I've ever read. So coming in at 2 is Hidden Bodies by Carolyn Keaton. This is the sequel to You, which I read last year and I loved. If you're familiar, You was a show. I've reviewed the first season. I just reviewed the second season as well. So if you want to hear my opinions on that, I'll link that down below as well. I waited until the second season of You to read Hidden Bodies because I've just heard horrible things about it, and I read it and it was really hard to read it because I just didn't like it. If you want to hear my thoughts on it, go for it. But again, like I said, I love You, the first season and the first book, some of my favorites. Second season of You is definitely better than Hidden Bodies, but I didn't love it. Hidden Bodies was just, I don't have any words, so there's that. 2 out of 5. Didn't really love it. Another 2 out of 5 thriller book that I read this month is The Wise by Taryn Fisher. I had such high hopes for this book because the plot sounded so intriguing to me. Basically follows a woman who is married to this guy who's also married to 2 other women. They're polygamous, and she doesn't know anything about these 2 other wives. She doesn't know their names or where they live or anything like that. She just knows that she sees her husband once a week and that she shares her husband with 2 other women. And then one day when she's doing the laundry, she finds a slip of paper with a woman's name on it. You can guess it's probably one of the wives, so she decides, hey, let's do some investigating and figuring out who these other wives are. And it says, how far would you go to find out the truth about your husband? Dun dun dun. So the first half of this book was really strong. I really loved the whole polygamous aspect of it because I don't read a ton of books like that because I don't understand the polygamous thing. That's a whole nother thing. But the last half of it was just, this one, I will tell you, it's not spoiling, at least, I mean, I don't know if it's spoiling or not. It does use mental illness as a plot device, and I really don't like that. Thrillers do that a ton, honestly, and that's a whole nother video, honestly, of talking about is that a good thing to do or not. Ultimately, probably not, but this one really irritated me. There's some thrillers I read where they use mental illness as a plot device that I think is a little bit more fleshed out, makes more sense. This one just made me so irritated that they used that, and the way they did it was just horrible. What they did, I just did not love it. So 2 out of 5. One of my least favorite books of the year, probably. And we're already starting off the year with saying that, so I don't know what that means, but I didn't like it. Last thriller I gave a 3 out of 5, and that is The Silent Patient by Alex Michaelides. I don't know, this one again, I feel like does use mental illness as a plot device, but I feel like it does it a little bit better, if that's even to say anything, than The Wise. This book was a big buzz book last year. Everybody that loves thriller books read this book. I finally read it. This one is all about a girl named Alicia who has a perfect life. She's a painter. She's married to this famous fashion photographer and things are going great. And then she shoots her husband in the face 7 times and kills him. And basically we pick up years later where she is in a mental institution because she has not talked since that night. And it's been like 7 years. And we have this therapist named Theo that is really enamored by Alicia's case. He gets the job where she lives at just so he can try to work with her and figure out why she did what she did. And so that's what this whole book is about, The Silent Patient. The twist at the end I think was good. I think you could have seen it coming. But again, I feel like it does use mental illness as kind of a plot device. But I just didn't love it as much as everyone else did. Like, it was a solid thriller, but it's not one of my favorite. Again, I feel like I'm way too harsh on thrillers when I shouldn't be because I haven't read nearly enough of them. So take this with a grain of of salt, as all of my book reviews, honestly. Opinion, personal preference is everything. But anyway, 3 out of 5. I enjoyed it. I didn't hate it, didn't love it. Kind of in the middle for me. And then I also have 2 more 3 out of 5s because, you know, and 3 out of 5s, I just want to say, are not bad ratings. 3 out of 5s to me are kind of middle of the road books, which means I enjoyed them. I liked them. There wasn't anything horribly horrible about it, in my opinion, or anything really amazing about it. It was just kind of a middle of the road book, which I think is perfectly fine. That's just my opinion. I have Love Her or Lose Her by Tessa Bailey. This is an adult romance. It is the sequel to Fix Her Up by her that she released last year that I read. This is a very adult book, if you get what I'm saying, wink wink. So if you're not into that, stray far away from really any Tessa Bailey books. This one follows the characters Rosie and Dominic, who are in a marriage and it's very strained, and Rosie wants to leave the marriage, and they decide ultimately to go to marriage counseling and really work on their marriage. And I did really enjoy that aspect of a marriage, because a lot of times with romance books we see people come together that's not married and things like that. Speaking of someone that's been married for over 11 years, I know. I like reading books about marriage and, you know, kind of the ups and downs in them, because every marriage has ups and downs. It talks about the love languages of marriages and things like that. So I gave it a 3 out of 5. I gave Fix Her Up a 3 out of 5. It's just a romantic, very steamy series. So if you're into that, definitely check out this series. And the last 3 out of 5 I have is Lucky Caller by Emma Mills. She is a YA contemporary author. I've read all of her books. They're all really good, feel-good books. I always kind of compare her to Casey West because they're just kind of writing styles very similar, very just cute and fluffy. Whereas Casey West, I feel, really focuses on the romance fluff, and Emma Mills really focuses on a friendship group. So in case you don't want so much romance but a really strong friendship group, I would recommend any Emma Mills books because she writes them very well. This one follows a character named Nina who has 2 sisters. Her mom's getting remarried, and she's also going into this radio broadcasting class where they each have to pair up like 4 or 5 people and like make a radio show. So she does that, and they have like a 90s theme one, which I love because 90s is everything. I listen to 90s still every day. And she also is in this group with her childhood best friend Jamie, who feelings have happened earlier, but things are kind of resurfacing again. So 3 out of 5. It was cute. It was adorable. I'll probably read all of Emma Mills books because they just put a smile on my face, honestly. And the last book I want to talk about is my favorite book of the month, and I gave it a 5 out of 5, and that is Tweet Cute by Emma Lord. This is a YA contemporary debut novel. I loved it. We follow a character named Pepper who is going to this elite private school. She's the captain of her swim team. She has a lot of responsibilities, going to college, da da da. And her family also owns this big like restaurant called Big League Burger. They're franchising, and her mom relies on her a lot to run the company's Twitter page because she just is good at it and she has a lot on her plate. Then we have a character named Jack who also goes to Pepper's school, and his family has like this deli in New York that's very small, like Grandma's. I forget exactly the name of it. And basically what happens is Big League Burger announces like their new menu item, like the Grandma's grilled cheese, and Jack notices that it is the exact recipe of their famous grilled cheese. So a battle ensues. Pepper and Jack both take a hold of their families on Twitter, and they kind of wage a war against each other. Meanwhile, at school, they're actually becoming friends. And also we have this app that they're at school that's kind of like a private messaging thing where each student's assigned to another student, but they don't know the identity of each other, and it's Pepper and Jack talking to each other and feelings emerge. It was just adorable. I loved the Twitter aspect of it. I loved Pepper and Jack, cheese. And overall, if you just want a really cute and adorable YA contemporary that has some really good writing and the Twitter aspect too, check out Tweet Cute. It was adorable. I would never expected that this was a debut novel. It's getting a lot of hype right now. I understand that, but as a lover of YA contemporaries, I ate this one up and loved and adored it. So would highly recommend you check this one out. There you have it. Those are the 6 books I read in January. Overall, a pretty good reading month for me, even though I read some not so good books. You know, that's okay. Not every month's gonna be amazing. And it's okay to start off the year with the social reading month. Hopefully February better, who knows? We'll have to see. I'd love to hear if you've read any of these books I talked about today, or what books you read in January. Did you start off this year very, very strong with some favorite reads, or was it just kind of like myself? I would love to hear. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.